Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Right now, we're with Colin Cowherd and talking about Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And before we get started, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you really like it. It really helps with visibility and the algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. And also, please consider subscribing. We're building an awesome community here, and so far, it's been going great, and I would love to see you part of it. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Well, Sean Payton didn't create this mess. He didn't give away 2 firsts and 2 seconds. He didn't give away 3 good players. He didn't write this contract. What's he supposed to do?
He
Let
chose
it ride? Yeah. No thanks. You inherit a mess. What do? You take over a business. You take over a show. You take over anything and it's a mess. You going to let it ride, fester? No. The contract stuff's ugly. There's so many things happening with contracts behind the scenes none of us really know about. That just got leaked by Russell's side. The truth is, the Denver O-line's probably the best Russell has ever had. It's ranked 7th by PFF. And he still takes too many sacks. And that was...
So this is the thing where we know that Colin Cowherd is friends with Sean Payton. Sean Payton gave him a lot of good guest spots for Colin's show all last year, and is also probably someone that he's able to text and get information. And he's kind of admitted this in a lot of ways, but he obviously relies on Sean to be one of the smarter people within the NFL that Colin has a connection with. So he's going to have his back. Now, to be clear, I'm not blaming Sean Payton either for this whole ordeal, but to say that Sean Payton's just not culpable at all is revisionist history here, because one, Sean Payton clearly picked the Denver Broncos, and he did so with the understanding that Russell Wilson is the QB, right? Like he know that wasn't a secret, that wasn't a surprise. And then he even came in this year and said all of the disasters had all to do with Hackett and that coaching staff. I'm here now. We're going to fix everything up, and everything is going to be great. Okay. Then they got off to a terrible start, and everyone started bashing that. And even Colin was saying, oh, it takes time. Russell Wilson isn't just broken. This just shows you what, Hackett has done. Then they right the ship for a little bit for like 5 or 6 games. And then you have someone like Colin Cowherd doing a victory lap. I told you Russell Wilson isn't done. Look at Sean Payton. He's a magician. He's able to fix everything. Look what he's able to do. This is how important. This is what a good offensive coach looks like. And now the Broncos went back down to earth and are now back to not being so good again. And now they're like, oh, see, told you, Sean Payton can't fix Russell Wilson. This is on Russell Wilson. And so it's like, and again, I'm all for changing the opinion that you have with new information. That makes sense. I get that. That's the sign of intelligence. That is what you should do. But also acknowledge that you misevaluated the situation in the first place, because that's what's happening right now. Russell Wilson is clearly not right now, and I don't even want to get into the past of whether he was or he wasn't. Just right now, he isn't this elite quarterback, get on my back, and I can take you to victory. That's because he's being benched right now, which is like pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Baker Mayfield's still playing. I mean, there's just all these other quarterbacks that are still technically playing that aren't being bench. It's one thing if you want to say, okay, they're going to move on from him or this or that, but like he's being benched, and granted it's because they don't want him to get hurt and everything to do with the money situation, stuff like that. But it's still like Russell Wilson has been a starting quarterback, pretty much an unquestionable starting quarterback forever, since he's gotten into the league, and now he's being benched. I mean, it's pretty crazy when you really kind of unpack it. So what I really don't like is the fact that like this flip-flopping isn't really based off of like new information. It's just your perception of the information has changed, and your perception should have kind of been the same. Like you and analyzed it. You broke this down before just wrong, right? You were just flat out wrong. So now that he's trying to, defend Sean Payton is honestly kind of weak from my perspective, because Sean Payton is also, if Sean Payton is as amazing and as brilliant as a coach as you want to say he is, then Russell Wilson is good enough of a quarterback. Russell Wilson's not a spaz out there. He's not a complete spaz and just, can't play at all. So which is it? I mean, if a good coach is only as good as his quarterback, well then what does that do? I mean, I thought Kyle Shanahan is supposed to be a wizard, and I thought, according to Colin, Brock Purdy's not that good of a quarterback, and yet look at the 49ers. Obviously, the 49ers are a significantly better team and have more weapons, but they still making Brock Purdy look great. And now, so it's just, which is it? So I find that a little weird.
It was a huge issue in Seattle and Pete Carroll. They're only 16th in scoring with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, two backs I like, a top 7 offensive line, and Sean Payton as a coach. Their offense scoring's behind Gardner Minshew, the Saints, the reeling Jags. Sean Payton gave him a chance. It's not week 3, it's week 17. It's not working. They're 26th in the league in deep passes with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. They don't throw the ball deep. They have no pop. Watch their games. Sean Payton did and just said, it's not good enough. And oh, by the way, patience is wildly overrated with quarterbacks. You can see great, average, and bad really quickly. Sometimes you get fooled after a year with a young quarterback, but you can mostly see it. And by the way, the Steelers have been patient. How's that working out for them? This is what offensive coaches do. Andy Reid moved off Pro Bowler playoff quarterback Alex Smith. Shanahan moved off Garoppolo, got him to a Super Bowl. McVay moved off Goff, got him to a Super Bowl. And Sean Payton's moving off of Russell Wilson, who's won a Super Bowl and been to 2. This is what offensive coaches do. Do you know what defensive coaches do? Because offensive coaches, a good chef, can size up a kitchen very quickly. You've known a few, I've known a few. The good ones doesn't take very long. A top screenwriter can be 2 pages into a script. They know if it works or doesn't. Offensive coaches can see ceilings and limitations quickly. Sean Payton was patient here. It's week 17. Defensive coaches, like the guy in Pittsburgh, who wins games, but it's, hey, I can win this way. Okay, he's not a great quarterback, but we'll just run the ball and limit turnovers. Hey, we don't need a star quarterback. Just play good, solid, sound defense. It's called 1987. It doesn't work anymore. You got to score points. And offensive head coaches,
So I do agree. I think it's good, right? That is the benefit of an offensive coach. They're able to really see what's working, what's not working, and they're focused on the most important position in all of sports, the quarterback. And you got to get that position right. But again, to say that, Sean Payton, and again, I'm not even trying to defend this decision necessarily, because I think ultimately it was probably the right decision. But I guess I just want to really continue to flag is that I want to know why Sean Payton gets a pass for this, though. Why does Sean Payton get a pass for the failure with his marriage with Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson is not this awful quarterback. He is definitely a good enough, competent enough quarterback. I mean, he just is. And I think one of the problems is he's obviously not likable, which is interesting because he tries to be the likable guy, but clearly the people in the locker room don't love him. Seattle, they didn't have strong positive words for him and not a lot of defenders. In fact, a lot of people making fun of him. It seemed like Russell Wilson turned into like a diva, honestly, which is obviously a bad look. And so people aren't going to jump to defend that. And also it's easy to use that person as a scapegoat for your problems. I think ultimately that's what it is. Sean Payton is in the situation. The season's not, panning out as he thought it was going to. He clearly thought Russell Wilson was a good quarterback. Otherwise, he would have not taken this job. He could have held out and tried to go with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I mean, there was just other options that he could have done. He chose the Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson because he believed in his heart that he could win and make some noise. He willingly went to the division that had Justin Herbert, that had Patrick Mahomes. He willingly did that. He had to have imagined, I can win with Russell Wilson. And he couldn't. He didn't. He failed. He deserves some blame for that. How could he not? Why? I don't understand why, again, he completely just gets a pass for that. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, because I feel like if it was another head coach, he would probably maybe get some blame, and he's not. So right now, the truth is that people like Sean Payton and they don't like Russell Wilson, and so that's kind of a big part of it. Not to mention, you have people in the media like Colin, who's friends with Sean Payton, and so that's going to help.
This is very on brand. Reed, McVay, Shanahan.
And sorry, Sean Payton worked for Fox, so now he's definitely in it with the media and having those conversations, and so he's kind of ingratiated with all of that.
Just don't have a feel for it. The minute Josh McDaniels left, Mac Jones and Belichick was a tire fire. Brian Flores is a very good coach. He didn't think Tua could play. Mike McDaniel said, no, yeah, he can, and made him a Pro Bowler. Time and time again. People bail on Gardner Minshew. Shane Steichen's like, I think I can get close to the playoffs with him. The Jets' defensive culture didn't see any talent with Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski did. I've been watching this for years, talking about it longer. Offensive coaches move off Super Bowl quarterbacks. They see it, they feel it. They're a chef and they size up the kitchen. Defensive coaches, give me Geno Smith. I can hoist a trophy with that. No, he can't. No, he can't. Kenny Pickett's the answer. No, he's not. No, he's not. The reality is, you're watching, I'm watching. It's week 17. It's not working. No deep ball. Getting sacked too much. The O-line's good. It really is. 7th in the league. I think it's better than that. Maybe not Detroit. Maybe not Philadelphia, Dallas, but it's good. And you still get sacked. I'm not.
So that's why I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Like, what do you think happened to Russell Wilson? Was Russell Wilson just never that good of a quarterback? Was he always just kind of, did they win kind of around him rather than with him? Was Pete Carroll just good at getting the most out of Russell, and he just, was able to kind of hide his weaknesses more strategically, and at this point, not willing to with someone like a Sean Payton or Nat Hackett? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one, because I'm not going to pretend like I have the strongest opinion with regards to Russell Wilson and Sean Payton necessarily, but I do have a strong opinion about Sean Payton not getting any sort of blame or culpability. That I disagree with, because what Colin is strategically mistaking here is he talked about how Goff, Sean McVay moved on from Goff, and how oh my God, who's the other quarterback today? Andy Reid moved on from Alex Smith. But those coaches won with those quarterbacks. Goff, went to a when Goff went to a Super Bowl and still had other success prior to just that Super Bowl and after that Super Bowl. Same thing with Andy Reid and Alex Smith. Alex Smith was also old, and then they also got a brand new Patrick Mahomes fresh out of the wrapping paper. Okay, so come on. And same thing with Stefanski. Same thing with Shane Steichen. Right? Like, think about what you're saying though. Like, he's kind of getting confused in this, because Shane Steichen is winning with Gardner Minshew. Are we then saying that Gardner Minshew is better than Russell Wilson? Because if that's what you're saying, well, then you're saying that Russell Wilson was never that good. That's number one. And if you're saying, no, Russell Wilson is on par with, a Gardner Minshew or an old, Flacco, okay, so then why is Sean Payton not winning? Why are these other coaches that are technically supposed to be less than Sean Payton, right? They're supposed to not be as good or as brilliant as Sean Payton. Why are they winning with those QBs and Sean Payton is not? That's what I'm trying to really kind of iron down here, And so if you know that reason, please let me know, because I don't. I'm it's just fascinating to me that in one breath we can praise, Stefanski and these other coaches for winning with these, either older or backup subpar QBs. But then here we go. We have Russell Wilson, who should in theory be just as good and capable as those QBs, not winning. He's blamed, but no Sean Payton. So if you're going to praise a coach for winning with an average QB, and then you praise a coach for being brilliant, but then he's not able to win with an average QB, and then doesn't get any blame. Like it doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up to me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really, really helps with visibility. And please subscribe. We are building an awesome community here, and I absolutely want to see you here. And it's 100% free for you, and it means everything to me. So please join. Let's have some fun. Let's get into some fights. Let's get into some discussions. And I'll see y'all next time.